Ladies and gentlemen, ears of corn all over the internet and indeed the world. Welcome to the Corn Chronicles. The search continues. Tonight, my guest is the one and only legendary Mr. Brendan Kozak. Brendan, thank you so much for joining me tonight. How are you doing, man?
Hello, Mr. Podcast.
What's that, man? You doing all right?
Yeah, doing well. How are you?
Good, man. I'm doing okay. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Brendan and I go way back to not only high school, but even growing up down the block during our middle school days. It was always very much a group of people that Clark Smith tried to name, the local boys of Muskrat Nation. I don't think any of those names ever really stuck, thank God.
No, yeah.
Brendan,
for the best.
Go way back, man. Do you have a favorite Clark Smith?
Yeah. A favorite Clark Smith what?
A favorite Clark Smith name for the group?
Oh, it's got to be.
There are a few to pick from.
Wait, his name for our group?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just remember my favorite name was for him was Clark the Shark, which I think was started by Chris. I'm drawing a blank on what he used to call us. What did he used to call us?
He used to call us the local boys, the Muskrat Nation, is what I remember.
Oh, Muskrat Nation. Yeah. That one I remember. Are there more?
Little kid thing. Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for me to call somebody weird, man. But yeah, he had his moments.
Yeah, no, he was out there, but came around. It worked out.
Well, we love him anyway. He's a local boy,
Yeah, exactly. South side of 25A.
Indeed, baby, the South Side boys. That was one of them too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was. I don't know if he started that one, but yeah.
Brendan, why don't we start there, man? Not so much. Growing up in that neighborhood was always very special. And to my mind, one of the things that made it so special was especially prevalent for you being right on the back end of that sod farm. And to my mind, that sod farm always served whatever kind of purpose we needed it to. In a lot of ways, it kind of grew up with us. When we needed when we needed a football field, it was a football field. Baseball, gosh darn, a chance to go out, blow off some steam. And then to this day, when we were 20 somethings, just drinking beers and playing gosh darn can jam and killing the game, Can you talk a little bit about, especially when it's literally your backyard? It sounds like a bit of a wax poetic question, but I think it's an important place to start. Can you tell me a little bit about what growing up in that area kind of meant to you when you were coming up and maturing there?
Yeah, I mean, it took a long time to realize what I had there, because I was born in that house, I was raised in that house, I knew nothing else. Yeah. It really wasn't until probably, I would say late middle school, high school, where I realized wow, this is something real special that not a lot of people get to have. Because we started, utilizing it a lot then. And as we all became friends later on, it's just wow, this is amazing to have this 100 acres or whatever of beautiful grass every day. We would go out there, play games nonstop, and just all the space in the world to just do whatever we wanted. And you didn't have to mow. It was awesome. And,
yeah.
But yeah, so I think, for a long time, I just didn't think twice about it because it was always there. And then I really, really started appreciating it, especially going into as we started having those late night fires out there and just kind of drinking and a little bit older, started reflecting on wow, this is really awesome. This is something special. And, we were able to do anything out there. And then even when it was dirt, we used to do dirt ball fights when we were in probably our senior year of college. Middle school, we'd throw dirt at each other. We used to do whatever we wanted. We'd go out there, cause trouble. Yeah. So yeah, it was beautiful. And then not to mention the, you know, amazing sunsets and tons of can jam that we won, me and you specifically.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a special place. I think, you know, we all got to appreciate it, obviously.
It was the right group to appreciate it too, man. I mean, that's easy to say in hindsight, but I always consider that was a perfectly eclectic kind of group of people that in certain ways were so very different, but in many ways were just the same. And it's easy to be, like I said, poetic about it, but I think kind of the sod farm is one of the things that just kind of put, what would otherwise be a somewhat unlikely group of people together. Because like I said, it just kind of filled whatever role we needed it to. And it's, to this day, it's a very special, place. And I don't have to tell you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We would all, do our own thing and then send a group text out. Hey, Can Jam Saturday. Yep. Everybody's there. Everybody shows up. We all have a great time out there.
Exactly.
So, I think I might have told you, but last week I took a ride by and like walked out there and, it was funny to see.
Yeah.
Different people in the house now, but, hopefully they're enjoying it.
Right. During the 4th of July, actually, I swung by the Taylors. And obviously, I'm still not really over what's going on in the world, don't get me wrong. But like, especially in July, it was still very much like everybody keep their distance. But like, we did find time to just say like, look, we're all outside anyway. You were right on Oakland, like I'm seeing my parents, like you want to just meet out in the sod farm. And it was really cool because I don't think I'd been, with all respect, I don't think I'd been on the sod farm since, the house had been sold, your house.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to be out there and, kind of see people at a distance, but certainly close enough to be able to speak with them and just like all these memories and, just combined with the state of the world, man. It was really very special. Absolutely. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you guys catch fireworks when you're out there, or was it during the day?
They were popping off all
nice.
around. It wasn't. We weren't too close to any of them, but that's what kind of made it cool. We just kind of got to like turn to whichever way they were actually going off. It was neat.
Yeah,
it was.
That's great.
So, Brendan.
One thing. Oh yeah, one more. Oh yeah. Oh no, one other thing was just those big sprinklers. You remember that? Like they used to just drive down. There'd be like the size of half a football field or whatever. Right. Those are great too. Just running out there, climbing on them, getting wet, and trying not to get in trouble. So
exactly, man.
It had everything. It
really did, man. Gosh darn, even when Joe had like the go-kart, like flying around there, like
yeah.
Talking about taking off the deal life. Good Lord.
Yeah.
So, while we're talking about the great outdoors and certainly where you grew up, I want to talk about what some people may confuse with raccoons. But
where are you going with this?
I would consider the home in which you grew up a very active ecosystem, and
oh yeah.
One of the ways it was very much an active ecosystem was, of course, the large population of frogs. And also, I understand that there were, when your pool was no longer kind of functioning, I understand that there was a large kind of fish population that kind of took root there.
Yeah. Funny enough, these fish sprouted up in my pool.
Imagine that. Whoever could have been responsible.
Yeah, I mean, all right, so the frogs, they got there on their own. Like I think we always had a couple frogs.
Right.
And then they really just took over kind of when about the same time the fish came. So, so my pool, as I think, like the liner like ripped one year. So we didn't fix it at the time, and it kind of sat there. And it was covered, but then the cover like ripped as well, and the pool just became like a little like mini swamp almost, and it just like was a dark color, and it was probably there for like half a season, half a year, And then one day, me and my brothers are in the backyard. We're doing, I think it was like a spring cleanup. And we're in the pool area. We're cleaning up. And one of my other brothers looks down. He goes, "Was that a fish?" And the water is very dark. You can't really see deep in there. But he looks down, and there's like a gold shimmer. And then like we're staring into the water, and there's a few more. And then sure enough, like there's goldfish in the pool swimming around. And we're like, "What the hell?" They all thought that I did it. Like, I don't know, because I was the youngest one and I was in college and whatever. I don't know. I wouldn't do that, but I had no idea how these fish got in there. And there was like a little school of fish. And it was probably another year until we fixed the pool. Through that year, they thrived. There was those like little school of fish turned into thousands of fish, some of them getting like this big. And like, you saw it as like it progressed. They just kept doing what they were doing, and they had, just eating algae or whatever they were. We had no idea how they got there. And I would tell this story all the time throughout the, the year that they were there. I'm sure you heard it a bunch of times. Anytime we see someone new, I'm telling this story. The fish got there. And the only thing I could think of is like one day I saw like a duck or probably like a duck or a goose or something in the pool. So like the duck must have been in like maybe the fish pond in like another place and scooped up some eggs and left it in the pool, and they just like, I don't know, how else would they get there? So maybe a year after that, we're finally cleaning out the pool, replacing everything. I drained the pool to like 2 feet from the bottom, and I went down the slant and I scooped out thousands of fish and I put them in buckets. And one of my neighbors knew of someone that owned a big pond, and he brought them to that pond. And like, luckily they got a new home. So it was a happy ending for the fish, but it was a pain in the ass. And it was probably maybe another 6 months after that, I'm somewhere telling the story again to someone new who hadn't heard it. And Zach is sitting next to me. And he goes, "I know how they got there." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah. Me, Orvitz, and Jimmy, we put him in. You were on vacation, and Orvitz was fishing in his pool, and then it turned into we should put fish in his pool. And they went to the aquarium, and they got a bag of goldfish. They dumped them in, and they thrived and multiplied to thousands."
Love it, man. I'd like to think that the duck had a couple too, just to like add to the ecosystem.
That what?
I'd like to think that the duck had a couple too, just to like.
Yeah, he probably put in a couple.
He contributed.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll never forget one of my favorite memories. Speaking with you is when we were up in that bedroom or wherever we used to hang out. I don't think it was a bedroom, right? It was like a chill spot.
Yeah, it used to be in my room. We turned it into like a living room type of thing.
Right, which was tremendous in and of itself. A lot of stories there on its own. First time I watched Californication was in that room. Baby boy.
Oh yeah.
That sounds like it doesn't matter, but like it matters. That show wound up meaning a lot to me, for better or worse. But anyway, I remember saying to you, because I hear the frogs outside, and I say to you like, "Oh, Brendan, that's." To be clear, you're right about this. I was wrong, but you're right. All right, but I'd say to you, I'm like, "Oh, Brendan, I hear those frogs. That must be pretty relaxing at night." And you literally were just like, "It's not," like,
it was a war zone.
Like, I'm pretty sure, if I'm being honest with you, like, I'm pretty sure some expletives were thrown around, and it was pretty much like, "You're an idiot," like they are not relaxing at all.
You take these frogs and bring them home with you. See how you feel.
That might have been where we wound up. Yeah, I'll never forget it, man. Just suddenly, like, I think we're just chilling and just like, "Oh, how peaceful," and suddenly you're like lashing out. I'm just like, "Oh, my bad. All right."
Yeah. It was a sore spot. I'm like, frogs. Oh man. If it wasn't for like the loud air conditioner in my window, I probably would have gone out hunting frogs every night. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, man. Just think guys started like thinking black, pink and black face paint, you know, just like blending in.
Yeah.
Just like a little
Getting like frog calls. Yeah, they were something else. I didn't know frogs could be that loud. They were loud.
Oh man.
And they were little guys too, you know, they were only like this big or so, I don't know.
Big sound though, man. Big voice.
Yeah. I hear they're still there though.
Yeah, yeah, we picked up on that, huh? Thank you to the
Yeah. That's you know, some people would say they sound like raccoons, but
we're all a little different, man.
yeah. Yeah, you know.
Some of those raccoons in southern states, you know, you never know what they're sounding.
Yeah. Hybrid raccoons, you know?
It's all dialects, bro. It's all dialects.
Yeah, exactly.
Brendan, I'm gonna bring up one more thing from when we were a little on the younger side. Throughout certainly late college, late high school, perhaps early college, but one of the things I greatly miss about us all being in the same kind of neighborhood. I'm going somewhere with this. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the White Stripes. All right, I'm a fan.
Yep.
There is now one song that I hear, and I can't help but hear and think of a very special breakfast eatery by the name of IHOP. And that is the song Doorbell.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed. Brendan, I'm not of the false impression that there's some profound story about like what's great about going to IHOP. I don't mean it like that. Like a lot of early mornings, after nights where we needed a breakfast the next day, you know, we'll leave it at that. We would, you know, make the sojourn to IHOP. And you had a very specific playlist. And Brendan, in a very general sense, but I don't blame you if there's nothing to say. Any thoughts on those morning trips to IHOP? Mostly my question is what went into creating that playlist? Because by the time I was joining that crew, that playlist was already kind of set in stone. And I'm just wondering if there was any kind of profundity to just like this song fits that IHOP breakfast playlist that wound up being very much a soundtrack to some rough mornings into some great early afternoons.
Honestly, I don't think there's like any correlation between the song and why I picked it for IHOP. I can tell you where I heard the song first. I was just in the car with my sister when I was younger, before like we were driving and before we were going to IHOP and all that. I was in my sister's car and she had it on, and she was like one of the only ones. No, that's not true. But she introduced me to a whole new line of music that I never really listened to before. I was always kind of like maybe either not that heavy into like following music, or I would kind of listen to whatever my brothers were. But when I started like hanging out with my sister a little bit more when she was driving, she was listening to like that type of music a little bit more. And I heard that. And that was like one of the first songs I heard that she played. I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool. And I just fell in love with it. And I don't know, one day I guess we were playing it on the way to IHOP and we were obsessed with IHOP. And then I'm like, oh, this is the IHOP song. And, you know, and it was also like kind of as the beginning of like the iPod and the beginning of setting playlists. So like, I don't know, that might have been like one of the first ones that just made it into a playlist. I'm like, oh, iPod playlist, let's go. Yeah. I mean, IHOP playlist on the iPod. And
then I go. No, all right.
Yeah. But yeah, I just love that doorbell. That's it.
Yeah, dude. When you gonna ring it, babe? Now, Brendan, we certainly have some music memories too that I definitely want to cover, and we're gonna get to that in just a moment. But I kind of want to talk about. I only joined you on a couple of these, and Lord knows I have some memories that I truly cherish from these trips. But I understand that this tradition of ski trips to Vermont has been taking place for by now what can only be considered probably like close to.
You cut out. Sorry, you cut out a little bit. Say that one more time.
The ski trips to Vermont.
Oh yeah.
which I've only been to a couple, but I know they've always been very special to me in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about one, how those trips kind of got started? Were you always a skier before those kind of, or snowboarder? Like which one did you do? I was kind of chilled in the lodge. One year they had a basketball, so I spent all my time there, which was really counterintuitive. There was a lot of money just to play basketball, but there was a lot.
Whatever. It's the weekend away.
Exactly that, man. And maybe a little bit on how have those trips changed for not necessarily you, but certainly the group as like we've kind of matured and gotten older and kind of found families and things like that?
No, actually, each year I go back to the high school and I find a new set of seniors to go on a trip with. So we keep it the same age.
And they're full of like, oh, that's Brendan. Hey, Brendan.
Yeah. I put out flyers and ski trip. No, so I think it started, I don't know if it was junior or senior year of high school, but I wasn't really a skier before that. I went like once or twice. I went on, I think the first time I went was at 8th grade. They used to run the buses up. You remember that? Like they would do the ski club in like middle school. So I think I did that for the first time. I went with Jimmy Obajensky. We took the bus up. It was a day trip to like Wyndham. And that was the first time I went. And Jimmy ended up breaking his leg that day. But I mean, it was actually a long story, but it ended up being a really good thing. He found assist and all that, but the whole thing. But anyway, that was the first time I went. And I don't think I went again. Maybe I went one other time with my brother. But then in either junior or senior year, I was talking with, it must have been, I think it was me, Zach, probably Brian Carbonetti, and Anthony Italiano. I'm not sure exactly. It was like a group of 5 of us. And we went and we decided to get a house for the weekend. We did like maybe 2 nights, or maybe it was just 1 night, somewhere close. And then we had a ball. Like it was like the first year that we all had cars. So we were able to like go on our own trip. So it was the first like trip we did on our own. It was like magical. You know, we're like, this is amazing. It was so cool. And then we got to do it again next year. And then it just built up. So the next year, whether it was senior year or the first year of college, we did our second trip and we expanded the group, and it went from, 5 people in 1 car to like we had a couple of cars. And then over the next 2-3 years, it turned into like as many as like 18 people in a house. And we had a house for a whole week. And like we would, that's when I think you started getting involved second or third year. And it turned into like one of the most amazing trips that we would do every single year. I wouldn't see half the people all year or talk to them really. And then every year, like clockwork, we would just like, Vermont, yep. And we'd start planning it, and it was awesome. We were able to keep in touch, and then I started becoming a skier after that started. So yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
Did you ever make it on the mountain? Did you try?
No, I did tubing once. To me, man, like I went up just to go to the lodge once.
Yeah.
And that was cool. My thing was like, it just seemed like a lot of money to like fall on your rear end all day.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen me play basketball, and like there is like a closeted athlete in me, don't get me wrong. But like, I still find it hard to believe that I would throw on a pair of skis or a snowboard and I'll be like, oh, this is easy. Like, no, dude.
Yeah, let's go down this mountain. Yeah.
And so mostly for me, it was more about like, there's a lodge right here. The first year we did it, which spoiled the hell out of me, there was the damn basketball hoop. And so like I wasn't like a bump on a log drinking beer all day. Like I was still going and working, like I was picking up more of a sweat than anybody. And well, not more of a sweat, but like as much of a sweat as anybody. And I was just like, why am I going to pay all this money for like equipment, ski passes, for something that I'm going to glide for 2 seconds, fall for 10 seconds, get back up, and then do it again?
Right. the idea is that you get better and you don't do that, but
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
No, I hear what you're saying though. Yeah.
now, now that I have, not that I'm doing great, but now that I have like the disposable income a little bit, like it sounds weird to say at 31, but like if we were to do it again, like this year, and like if I were to throw like my hat back in that ring, like I think like this might be the year for me to say like, oh, like let's see what I could do,
Yeah.
But yeah, it just never really appealed to me, just kind of for that reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. If you're not into it, you're not into it. But it's worth trying. But even if you're not, like just going up there, the houses were like we always had a great time. There were other people, 20 other people that went just to get away, and like we would have a blast hanging out at the house, having a fire, going to the hot tub, and they were just great times.
And then that second year, I don't know if you were, or my second year, I talk about this like my memories are clearer only because I've done it less often. So I don't blame you if you don't. But like they had the X Games at one of the places, so we went up. Just to check out the X Games. The Flowbots played. Gosh, Steve Soroka was wearing like Converse shoes, so he was literally like rubber banding all across the mountain, which was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life with a capital. And then
oh man,
we went to that funky pizza place where that guy Nick Snow played. Do you remember that?
Oh yes. I don't remember the name of the place, but yeah, right. That was cool.
He was just like this local musician playing at a Vermont pizza place, and like wound up being like, A, he was so talented, and B, you could tell that he wasn't used to like people eating up his stuff, and so he's like, I have another gig, but I don't want to go, and I'll never forget like. Yeah. He had like this little hype man who was like handing out his postcards and stuff like that. And I still have like his like promo material hanging up in my room at my parents' house. It still says like and it has like his little website and things like that. And I still check it out from time to time. He's still doing his thing.
That's funny. Yeah. Do you know, was that at Mount Snow or was that Killington? Do you know? I think it was Mount Snow.
I think Mount Snow. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, those are good times, man. And we had, going back to playlists, we had playlists set up for Vermont. There was 2 songs in particular that were just mainstays that I play up until this year when I went. And it's one, Every Morning.
Yes.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
Indeed.
I don't know exactly.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster is a highlight for like even when we went to Lake George that was playing every morning.
Yeah, I don't know how. Again, I don't know how that started, but it was just like waking up, getting ready to go skiing, and we had like a party the night before, and just be and every time. My Angel World was another one we always played on the drive up. I don't know. I know we always had different cars, but that one was something I always played on the drive up going there. So. Yeah.
And that's part of what's cool about music that can just kind of put you in different mindsets like that. Shoot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that sounds as perfect a transition as any to a couple of our concert experiences. And I, for one, just speaking on a very personal level between you and me, I treasure our concert experiences because I know that you and I kind of view music in different capacities because I'm a little more active as quite frankly, like performing it and things like that. But I always get a kick out of seeing you get excited about music and artists that you're into because I know that you see it in kind of a different context and it's all kind of a mutual collective appreciation of music that's being played. That's like some really heady shit, but it always means a lot to me when I get to see a concert with you. And I don't say that lightly. I really very much treasure. I want to kind of start us out with one of the first concerts I ever saw with you was actually a concert that you brought to my attention 1,000,000%. And that was when we got to see Rodrigo and Gabriela at, I believe, the Beacon Theater. And
Yeah.
what I treasure about that show, in addition to the company, it was great. It was you, me, Zach, I think. Jay Kaplan met us, which was cool.
Yeah.
It kind of grew into a group, which is neat.
Mm-hmm.
But what was cool about that show for me is you had very much half the concert venue was there to treat it like a sit down, shut up, and listen to it like more of a traditional classical kind of performance, you know, because they're very technically gifted guitarists, you know, the both of them. And then on the flip side of that, you had this other group that was kind of very much high energy, we're here to party, because as much as they're technically proficient, it was very much a dynamic sound. And something that very much motivated you to move, you know, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Kozak, I do have a story that I want to punctuate this with, but can you kind of talk us through very quickly what you enjoy about the Rodrigo or Gabriela sound and any memories of that particular concert experience, please?
Yeah. So I'm not sure where I first heard them, but it could have been, for all I know, it could have been a show, it could have been a movie, I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know, up until today, anytime I hear something new, I always like Shazam it. I always, you know, looking for new music all the time. Like anything I hear, like in the background of a restaurant, whatever it is, like if I just hear something good, I'm always looking to see what it is so I can expand and whatever. So whatever, somehow I ended up catching this tune and I loved it. And I started listening to them, and it was like nothing else I ever listened to. Like there's no vocals. It's just this couple jamming out on, you know, guitars, and they're using the guitars as drums. And, you know, I think it was probably like the first like steel string guitar that I really listened to. Then, you know, I really started appreciating that. And I was like real pumped up about them. And I would show it to like everybody else that I was, you know, whoever's in my car. And I'm like, yo, this is awesome, right? And some people are looking at me like, what the hell are you listening to? But, you know, there are some people that really appreciated it, like yourself. And when I saw that they were going to be in New York, we got to see this. Like, I was watching their live concerts on YouTube nonstop. I'm like, this is amazing. And I was just blown away by them. And when I saw that we could go and we actually were going to go, like I was really, really excited. And yeah, we went there, and yeah, like, you know, like you were saying, it was an interesting venue for it, because like we're kind of like stuck in our seats and we wanted to like kind of move around, but then there's like a family over there in suits all buttoned up and like we're like getting loud. But it was great, you know. It was a good experience. And I think you know, the company, the crowd, you know, the people that we went with was awesome. It's Jay Kaplan. I think he already like was following them.
Yeah.
So he was into them, and, you know, that was cool to be with other people that already appreciated them. But like, and also for us, it was a brand new experience. Like, you know, nothing else we really listened to like that. I think,
Yeah,
anyway, for myself anyway, but I think it was the same for everybody else. So yeah, it was a good show. And I've seen them a couple of times since.
Yeah. I admit I haven't seen them since, but I would eat it up.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memories of all time, period, much less as it relates to you, is very much at that show. Again, I stress, it sounds like it's not important, but any listeners that are listening, all two of you, the dichotomy of people between people that wanted to party and people that wanted to treat it like you were listening to Johannes Brahms or Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. It was 50-50. There were people that, that were there to shout. There were people that were there to shush, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so we get closer to the end of the show, all right? And Rodrigo and Gabriela are at the point where they're just kind of thanking the people that are making everything possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where I'm going? It's okay if you don't, but I'm wondering.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so
I'm sure I'll remember when you say it.
we're at the point where they're thanking the people that are making the show possible. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and Gabriella goes, and it's interesting too because if you watch them play, like Rodrigo's the guy that can tell you very honestly. And I say this with all the respect in the world, but Rodrigo's the guy that can tell you, like, you're going to play a C sharp minor. You know what I'm saying? And Gabriella's the one that'll just kind of be like, and you kind of go like this. Like, she's all feel, and he's all kind of tech. And it's really interesting. Like, one thing I have seen is a couple of, like, little, like, intermediary, like, guides for, like, how to play what they play. And you have to be at another level to play it, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't mean it's not interesting to watch. But anyway. Yeah. Gabriella's at the point where it's just like, we want to thank our sound guy, Eugene something.
Oh.
Yes. All right. And Kozak goes.
Hey, Eugene!
Kozak gives like a separate cheer for Eugene.
And it's pretty quiet. It was a very loud.
It was a very quiet moment that was very much shattered by Brendan Kozak's praise for the sound guy, Eugene. And dude, I lost it. I think it might have been like Zach to my right, and I just kind of started like hitting him like involuntarily just because I was absolutely in stitches. And and I was just making it worse. Like there were already people that looked at you for doing that, but then they were looking at me because I thought it was hilarious. Dude.
I mean, I think they were probably looking at us the whole show.
Yeah, that's true.
They had our eyes their way. But he deserved it. He did a great job.
The sound was on point, man. I mean, if there's anybody who deserves some praise, it's Gosh darn Eugene.
Yeah. I hope he's doing well.
Dude, always look to the best team, dude. Oh, dude, I love it. That was definitely, I think we went to, if I'm being honest with you, I think we went to a bar afterwards, and I might have just talked your ear off for like 5 minutes for how funny I thought that was. You know, like that, like knowing me with 3 beers, that sounds like something I would do. You know?
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that was great.
Special times, man. And another very special show that we got to go see was at Terminal 5. Usually a very awful venue, to be honest. But I think I don't think it was their first U.S. show. I think that was overblown. But I think it might have been the first time she played in New York, Miss Tosh Sultana.
Oh, yeah.
That was another very special show.
That's right. Yeah.
First of all, she was just incredible. Like, I don't even know how you can put all that into words. Like, you just got to hear it. Like, it's just like loop pedal work on another level, but it's so entrenched and grooved. Like, to an extent, it's like not technical, but at the same time, it's just like there's such feel to it that it is technical. I mean, she's lovely, man. She blew my mind.
Yeah.
Plus, she's just like cooler than everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, God damn.
Yeah.
She is. But one of the cooler memories of that show was when that whole show we were kind of displaced. We never quite got to the spot that we wanted to like see the entire show.
It was packed.
Yes. Because again, like it wasn't her first U.S. show, but like I do believe, I wouldn't bet my life on it, but I think like this was like the first time like Tosh Sultana NYC, and I think like people were out accordingly, you know, and we were there, which is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And plus, Terminal 5, like in terms of sight lines and comfort level, like it's not a great venue. It's not. Shoot, I don't know what to tell you. And so this whole time we're kind of displaced, and we're like standing in one spot for 2 songs, and then like we're trying to move to another, and then finally Kozak says like, "I have $20 here, and that's the VIP guy." And so Kozak approaches his velvet rope, and I'm just like, oh boy, this is not gonna happen. And I know in my mind, like, even if I give you another $20, like, it's still not gonna happen. And I'm trying to tell you, I'm
Nah.
like, Kozak, man, it's not gonna fly. Just like, who knows, man? The concert's halfway over already. Like, I think it'll be fine. And I just watch you like approach like this bouncer cat, and you're just trying to grease him with your one Andrew Jackson, and he's just like, nah, man. And I'm just like,
Nah.
that happens, man.
Your wallets ain't deep enough.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I was like, come on, Brendan, let's go, dude. Your credit was pretty quickly, but I give you credit.
Yeah. I had some confidence. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Nah.
There's some old hickory right here, bro.
Yeah.
Any particular memories of that show, man?
I mean, except just like sweating and trying to scoot around, you know,
Yeah.
it was still a great time. It was, you know, everything I was hoping for. Like, just, you know, I had stumbled upon her and I was listening to her and watching her live shows. And I was like, this girl is amazing. And it was, you know, it was still great. You know, it was, even though we didn't find a spot that we could park, it was really something else. She's pretty amazing to see live. I got to see her again.
Oh, bro, I would see her again in an absolute heartbeat. And between you and me, man, this is not the reason I brought it up. I swear to God, obviously, because it's a little embarrassing. My landlady's like an 80-year-old German woman, and she's really sweet. I always really enjoy talking to her. She just gave me a gosh darn cheesecake the other day because I helped her move something. And
oh, nice.
I said to her, I was like, this is a lot of cheesecake. Like, you don't owe me anything. And she says, in a German accent that I'm not going to, you know, imitate. She's just like, you need it anyway. You're all muscles and bone. And I'm just like, all right, cool. And I just took the cheesecake. And I've been, in fairness, like by the end of the weekend, I'm going to finish it, you know? So, I mean, she might have had a point.
Oh, man.
But my point of bringing that up is I swear to God, the only remotely embarrassing moment we've ever had is like I was on my lunch break during like quarantine and like I was playing like Toss Sultana and like I wasn't like going all out, but I was definitely like dancing. I was definitely like feeling it. And suddenly she's like at this door behind this curtain and she just kind of like knocks real quick and I'm like, oh. Exactly. And she's smiling and I'm just like, hello, you know, like, yep, here I am, you know.
Oh, man.
Have you heard of Tosh Sultana?
That'd be funny the next day you're walking. That'd be funny the next day you're walking by her place and you just hear it from the wall.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Lord, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the reason that you ended up going with me on that was I originally bought 2 tickets. I was supposed to bring a date. I think like I was talking to a girl that I thought was like, I don't know, that I thought was going somewhere. I don't know. I don't remember. But I bought that extra ticket for a girl. Yeah. And then we ended up not talking, I guess. And I was like, oh, I got to look for someone else to go. And I was like, Polly, he'll appreciate this type of music. I'm like, you want to go? And then I think I'm pretty sure that's how it ended up happening.
Here's how it happened, man. I remember it very well. You're very close. But since you brought it up, I have to fill in these blanks. So,
yeah, you have a better memory than I do, so yeah.
I had gone to see my favorite band in the world. My favorite band in the world is Dave Matthews Band, but a lot of that by now is just based on sentiment and me being a young man and kind of a lot of formative things have happened to me and for me with their music in the background. But in terms of raw musicianship, my favorite band in the world is The Districts. Okay.
Is what?
The Districts.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's right. Yeah.
The Districts were opening up for a band that I didn't really care for, and so I literally told just people I knew would be in the area. I think I genuinely just told you. And I told like Ben Krause, I was just like, look, like I think they're only going to play for like 30 minutes. Excuse me. And I don't really care for the band that they're opening up for, but like if you all want to go to this show, like we should go to this show. And
Yeah.
so nobody wound up being able to come, which was fine because, again, like, I overpaid to hear my favorite band play for 30 minutes. But because I love them, like, that was worth it to me. But, like,
right.
you know, I don't blame anybody else for saying, like, like, give me a call when you're done with the show, you know?
Yeah.
No hard feelings for anybody. But I went to Kozak's in Queens after that, you know, because I didn't hang around for the show because I really didn't care for the band. And so I said to Kozak, I was just like, yeah, they were hyping some bands coming up. And I mentioned like another one to Brendan. And I said, oh, yeah, and there's that girl, Tosh Sultana. She is like coming too. And I think I've heard her name. And I wasn't an expert, but I was just like, I think she does. So I think my exact words were like, I think she's kind of like Keller Williams, but like with some more like flair and things like that. But like I was telling Brendan just like, oh yeah, like Tosh Sultana's a name I saw too. And Brendan's just like, I have 2 tickets. Do you want to go? And I was just like, what? You know, like,
yeah.
Like he just snapped his fingers and it's just like, would you like these?
Yeah. I got tickets to all the shows, brother. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, and I was just like, oh hell yeah, you know, like dude. So it's kind of man, it just kind of went from there, but it was kind of bizarre how all that kind of worked out.
That was funny. Yeah, I originally bought that extra ticket for a date. So you know, some would say it worked out better, some would say it didn't. I don't know. I mean, I didn't get a kiss that night, I'll tell you that. But
I'm sorry about that, dude. I was probably self-conscious. It was before I was working out so consistently.
Yeah, no, but I'm glad. I'm glad that you're able to go with me because that was a good show. That was good stuff.
Brendan, I want to bring up a place. That I very much consider the Bermuda Triangle of all of Astoria. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's the strangest and yet most magical place in the world, even though I've only been there 3 times, hand to God. And it's not there any longer. But I kind of want to get your thoughts, unfiltered, about Les Amis.
Okay.
Can you tell me a little bit about that place? What first drew you in? And then I know we went together at least once.
Yeah.
How would you characterize that place? I'll leave it at that.
I would say not, it doesn't fit in
I'm sorry, Brendan, you cut out. I have to cut you off. It doesn't fit what? Forgive me. Oh, dude. Are we good?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Wild. Okay.
Wait, so are we?
I think we're still recording.
Okay.
That was bizarre. Okay.
What happened?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Actually, can we?
I think I mentioned the Bermuda Triangle, and then God started.
You came here, yeah. You called it. You summoned it. Hold on. Can we? I'm gonna pause this for 1 minute. Justine is coming here, so I gotta let her in.
Yes.
That's okay.
Please.
Sorry, man.
Right on.
All right. I'll be right back.
Les Amis is what we have to wait for. Yes, indeed.
All right.
So the truth is, I don't necessarily know if I can pause this and still maintain my recording. So now we're getting some really independent Corn Chronicle material. That's just me really speaking. And I think you'll soon realize why I don't do these podcasts one-on-one, because I will quickly run out of things to say. But it's so cool to speak to Brendan tonight. Brendan is a person who, at a time where he's always had a drive to be independent that I've always kind of really respected. I feel like there were very much facets of time where even I just kind of had this group mentality, we'll say, of just like, we're all together and this is what life should be. And I don't necessarily lament or regret that. You know what I'm saying? I don't. But it feels like Brendan was always pushing at a time when other people were kind of resting. And I speak for myself. But Brendan's always had a drive in him to kind of achieve and be like self-sufficient. And when you say that at 31, it sounds like, oh, okay, but we're all kind of doing our own thing. But I mean, it always kind of seemed to me that Brendan was pushing for that kind of independence, when we were far younger than that. And I always give him kind of a lot of credit for wanting to be his own person for as long as he did. That's just one of the many things that makes him special to me. I hope that made sense. I feel like it didn't, because I'm very much put on the spot. Kind of don't feel like that did that justice. But bottom line, Brendan's one of my best friends, and it's so very cool to be able to speak with him. And as you're hearing, and certainly will hear, just some very special moments with him and our mutual friends. Yeah, man, cool. I got this Bill Evans shirt today from his Vanguard live album. So that was cool. I have since seen the Districts twice, and then right before the pandemic hit, I was going to see them in a proper headlining venue there in New York as a celebration of my 31st birthday. But unfortunately, the pandemic hit, which happens. Brendan was going to come to that as well with some of my dearest friends. I still have the list in my drawer. Because technically the concert is rescheduled for November, but I haven't even mentioned that because I don't think it's going to happen. Just because I don't think anything's really being addressed. Okay, sweet.
Hey, sorry about that.
No worries. I was talking to myself a little bit because I don't think I could pause the recording, so I was just doing some solo monologuing.
Okay, my bad.
No worries, man. I'm glad you came back when you did. It would start again.
So, in April 22.
It was a good show. No.
Yeah. So this is how you tie your shoes. Loop, swoop, and pull. All right, so lace them these.
Tell me about it, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just like shortly after I moved into the neighborhood here in Astoria, I was walking from like another bar one night, and it was late, and I was at, looks like, I don't know, it doesn't look like a normal place.
Yeah.
Sign, you got nuts. And it's like, I don't know, 5 a.m, and everything's supposed to be shut down. I'm like, what is this? And I'm by myself. And I go in there and I get in, and first of all, I just noticed immediately everybody in the bar is just cranking cigarettes.
Cigarettes.
What the hell? Like, because you're not allowed to do that in any bar in New York. And everybody's smoking cigarettes. And there were all these like older men. And I, started to quickly realize there's a bunch of older Greek guys, and the music is Greek music. And there's just these young Greek musicians, these like women like walking up and down the bar. and everybody's throwing singles at them like it's like a strip club. Like, this is the most insane place I've ever been in. It's right up the block from my apartment. What the hell is this? Music was great though, and like I was enjoying it. And I told a couple people about this. I'm like, what is this place? Like, this is weird. And I had to show them, you know. So like when you came, I'm like, dude, you got to see this place. Like, and
Well,
it was like no other place, right?
in fairness, man, I'm not cool very often, and you know me, man. It's been a lot of years. I'm not cool very often, but that was one of the few times where, like, let me tell you about this place, Les Amis, and I'm like, I know.
Oh, I'm in the know.
Yeah, dude. What freaks me out about that place is one, like, again, like, time stops. Like I say, the Bermuda Triangle for a reason. They're cranking cigarettes, like they're open late, you know, and it's very, in certain ways,
Bizarre.
it's very kind of a shifty place. But like, what kind of blows my mind, and it just kind of shows like where my mind goes, especially like inebriated Tom, if we're being honest, because I'm not there at 4 a.m. stone sober. I'm not.
Yeah.
Be real about it. You know, how you doing?
Right.
But what blows my mind is the music never stops, and it's all live. Like, it's not a recording. Like, they literally like tag each other out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
like,
yeah, one after the other. It's like 5 of them.
That's what blows my mind, is like they like have this routine set up so this live music never stops. You never applaud. You never do anything. It's just, gosh darn, I'm not going to imitate the music because I feel like that would be disrespectful, because it really is.
Yeah.
But they literally just like keep playing, and then like you just suddenly, like, it's one of those things where you look away for 30 seconds and talk to your buddy and look back, you might see 2 different musicians up there than you saw 60 seconds ago. And they just keep the aesthetic of the live music going, which is insane. Just
Yeah, it was a crazy place. And I think, you know, Astoria is a super predominantly Greek town. So there must have been like some kind of loophole that they found that they were able to do this. And, you know, they did it. And unfortunately, it's not there anymore, but it was a great time. It was interesting.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, I sound like I'm the biggest fan of the place. I have been there 3 times in my life.
I mean, I probably went there 3 more times than you. I didn't go there a lot, but
right. But that's how much of an impact that place leaves on you. And just this is like nowhere else in the world.
Like you're stepping into a different time period or country or whatever, something. Like it's it's crazy.
Brendan, I have 2 stories that I want to wrap up with. The last story I want to wrap up with is a story that kind of makes fun of me a little bit, which I think is a very important aspect of the show. But before I get to that, Brendan, I swear to you that there is only one story in this world, only one story that I tell people like I was there, but I wasn't there. Because I feel like when I tell the story and I say that, like, hey, this happened to a couple of friends of mine, like, it loses all meaning of the story, okay? So this is a story that if you heard me tell it, my confession is that it's not a lie, but I wasn't there. But I want to give all of the listeners an opportunity to hear this story firsthand from somebody who was. And Brendan, sounds a little silly, but I love the story. Can you tell us a story about wearing sunglasses at night, depending on your profession?
Oh, you got to be a mover.
Yeah. Just
obviously.
Take me through that story, start to finish. Not that I doubt it's terribly long, but it's one that I truly cherish, if you don't mind.
I mean, I think I was with Brian Carbonetti and I believe Zach and a few other people. I forgot exactly who was there.
Right.
We had gone to, I think it was a Yankee game. And we were at this Yankee game and we were, you know, having a great time, you know, drinking a little bit, and we're on our way back, going down the expressway. So I wasn't driving. I forget who was, but whoever was, everybody else, we were all in the back, like kind of like partying in the car. And we're going down the expressway, and we looked to the left of us, and I think it was like a box truck, like a moving truck, and the side door, like the side, like the kind of like garage side door almost was open, and these guys were like looking out the side. So like half, the truck is like open on the side, and these guys were wearing sunglasses, and we started yelling at them like, I don't know, nonsense, probably like, go Yankees, whatever. And then someone asks, why are you guys wearing sunglasses? It's like 11 o'clock at night. And like, cause we're movers. And we had nothing to say. We were yelling at them for a couple of minutes, and like we were all perplexed, like, okay. And we just like raised the windows, and we're like, all right, yeah, they're movers.
I guess they're right.
Touche. I don't know what it takes to be a mover, but I guess that's it. You got to wear sunglasses at night.
Oh man, I love that story, man. It's so
it threw us for a loop, and to this day, yeah, because we're movers. That's why. That's it.
Yeah. Actually, no more.
And then we went to Hooters and we had a bunch of wings, so that was cool. But
yeah, threw our sunglasses on. No.
Yeah.
Actually, to this day, I spoke to Zach. I've spoken to him since. Don't get me wrong, but about 3 weeks ago, Zach was telling me about, he's recently been doing some moving of like parcels for people,
Right.
And he said, he was just texting me, and he's like, oh, sorry, it took me so long to get back to you. I was moving whatever the heck, and he says, I forgot my sunglasses, unfortunately. You know? Like to this day, and I was in stitches.
Oh, that's great.
And it was brilliant. But yes,
good.
That is the only story that I tell people like it happened to me. It didn't happen to me. But
Do you really?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not like I tell it all the time. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like.
But when it fits, like.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When it fits.
You're moving something. Oh, make sure you bring your sunglasses.
Exactly. That's literally. I swear to God, man. I'm 31. I've done some really cool stuff with my life. That's the only thing that is like. I don't want to call it a lie, but like that's the only thing where like if you've heard me tell that story, like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I really do.
Oh, that's great.
Kozak, man, I want to close the story with something that I kind of need your help filling in the blanks on, although I have most of it. It's something that what I always say is sucks the ego out of the show. I like anything that kind of makes me look a little foolish. Because I think that's part of what makes life so special, and I think that's part of what makes friendships last, is seeing people at their playfully low moments, in addition to witnessing their achievements. Can you tell me a little bit about the night? I know we were at barbecues seeing the great Gary Sellers. Anyone who knows me knows that my social media presence is a little all over the place. And one night, Zach and Brendan, when I was a little touched up as a result of the alcohol, decided to take that to the next level by reading my tweets back to me, or making some references based on my tweets, just to kind of see how I would react. Can you tell me a little bit about what went into crafting that kind of scheme a little bit, and maybe your kind of recollections of having some fun with me in that regard? Oh no, tell me he doesn't remember.
I might have been a little more touched up than you. Oh man.
I just remember, here's what I remember, man, very distinctly, is like you were telling me, it's just like, you said something about M&Ms, and I was just like, dude, I was just saying that the other day, and I like pounced on you. I was just like, it's so weird you brought that up. Yes, okay.
So when we were reading your tweets, in like conversation to you.
Yes, exactly. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, okay. And they were taking advantage of my state of mind a little bit, and they were basically just bringing up my tweets
Yeah.
in casual conversation, and I was
Right.
like wrapped with attention because like this stuff is what is on my mind. I want you to tell me a little bit about that.
I don't know, too much of the context, but I think at the time I was like fairly new. Like I never really used Twitter, and I just downloaded it. I really like wasn't using it much. I was just kind of using it to like follow like news and stuff like that. And then I eventually followed you, and it was like me, Chris Carey,
You regretted it ever since, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's banned from my phone. I don't know. But yeah, we started reading your tweets, and I don't know. I think I was probably with Zach. I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking about? And I don't know. I think it was probably just. I could be completely wrong. I don't remember it too well, but me and Zach were just like, oh, we gotta, let's mess with them and like just start bringing up these obscure things obscure tweets that you're doing, the most absurd things that you're saying, and like let's just like mix it into the conversation. We're like, oh. I don't remember what it was exactly, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much more for you there. Sorry.
No doubt, man. I'm sorry. Well, actually,
what do you got? What's your?
The only specific thing I remember is you brought up Eminem, and literally like I remember lighting up like a Christmas tree because I was literally just like, Brendan, it's so weird that you brought this up. Because I was literally just thinking about that the other day, like, I might not be like 3 sheets to the wind, but I doubt I'm driving.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll leave it at that.
Right.
And I'm just like, Brendan, so weird you brought that up, dude. and my understanding, I swear to God, that's the only specific I had.
Yeah.
But my understanding is like you and Zach were having like a competition to see like who could do it more often without me realizing that you were actually like referencing my tweet. And I remember, based on what Zach has told me since, he said that just you both had left like victors, and I understand that like Zach went back and said like, nah, I can do one more. And when he went back to do one more, I was just like, oh, dude, I can speed it. And he's just like, oh, the game's
Oh, so I won.
I think you did. I'm not even saying that for your benefit. I do think you won. Oh, dude.
Oh,
so a special night. A special night that I probably only remember 75% of, but that's what Gary Sellers nights will do to you, man.
That was great. Yeah, Gary Sellers, man. Hell of a guy.
Yeah,
But actually, a couple of weeks ago, I listened to a Gary Sellers song. Me and Joe, we rented a boat, and it was on his like playlist, and it was Gary Sellers, and brought us back.
Was it Table for One?
I think so, probably, yeah.
Yeah. Joe likes that song, and I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Gary's a
great song. Yeah.
Very good. I used to like Chewing Ice.
Yeah.
Brendan, man, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. Before we call it a night, is there anything that you wanted to cover this evening?
Let's see. I mean, we just got to get we got to get back in the Can Jam court.
Yeah.
And we got to start running. I don't know if you can see here, but I've been watching some Can Jam, professional Can Jam.
No
and
way.
I think we got a chance. Yeah, here we go. It's the 2019 Can Jam Classic.
Look at that. Oh, my God.
So this could be us.
It could. Hey, listen, for any listeners out there, I'm not saying this for his benefit. Brendan in our group is a solid group, is an incredible player. And I think, very honestly, depending on the day, number 2 is me or Doug Clark. I think it really all depends on like who's feeling
Well, I think it's the combination of me and you is just
Yeah,
phenomenal.
that's
I've
true.
never
That's true.
we would just go out there and shut it down, and
Yeah, yeah.
very
That is very much a duo. I think I'm
something
trying to be
special about that.
because it's my nature, but like, no, that's it. That's it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the magic, and I can't wait.
Yeah.
Brendan, man, all seriousness, dude. I was saying this when you left the room. Um, I don't have anyone on this show that hasn't been very much a building block in making me the person that I am. And with that in mind, I again really want to thank you not only for being on the show tonight, because I think it's important to kind of share these memories with each other and kind of get these perspectives, but also just for being you and being such a constant presence and a very important presence in my life. And growing up with you has been very special. And I think I was saying, again, when you left the room, I think that there's always been a drive in you to be an independent and self-sufficient person. And when we're 31 and saying that, that sounds like, yeah, big deal, dude. Like, we all want to do that. We all live on our own. We all work hard. But I think that you had always kind of channeled that kind of earlier and more effectively than a lot of us. I've always kind of respected, very much so, I think at times where a lot of our focus as a group was just relaxing and partying and certainly working hard in certain aspects. I always felt like you were working towards a future more than your peers. And that's something I've always kind of very much respected in you, and something that I've always tried to glean from you. And bottom line, dude, I love you very much. And, I really appreciate all you've done for me, and I appreciate you being on the show tonight.
Hey, likewise. I thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been fun, and I'm glad that you invited me here. And, you've always been someone that really showed me things that I probably wouldn't have, or, brought me outside the box a little bit. And maybe, if you put it in the lines, like someone maybe I wouldn't normally hang out with, but maybe it's just called convenience that you grew up around the block for me, but I'm sure shit glad that you did, because you've made an impact in my life. So I'll leave it at that, and I'm really glad to have you as a friend. So it's yeah, it's been real. Not that it's over, but like
yeah. And now, if we lose these,
now that we've got this over, this is it. It's over.
As soon as we lose these Can Jam championships, it's done, bro. We're splitting that prize money 50-50, and then we out.
Yeah. I think there's at least $30 to win over there.
I think we can take them, man. I've been seeing it behind you, man. Like, dude.
Yeah, these guys
got some skills. Are they?
Joke.
Actually, serious question. And then we really are going to end the show. Are they doing anything in their other hand?
No, exactly. They're breaking the fucking rules.
Dude, amateur hour over there behind you. God.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, great. Nice matching shorts, asshole. No.
All right, so I'll find out the details. We'll sign up for next year when this is over. And,
exactly, man. I can't wait. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Chronicles. The search continues. This has been my guest, the one and only Brendan Kozak. I have been Tom Policastro. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We are going to stop recording. Thank you so much in 3, 2, 1.
Thank you, Tom. Good night.
Done.